Welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review, folks. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson, and this is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi, guys.
And if you hear any noises in the background, it's raining here,
Yeah, well, actually, you might hear a bit of rain on the roof out the back here, so can't do much about that. We're not in a soundproof studio, so well, we're stuck with it. So anyway.
Today we're reviewing the continuation Jurassic World film franchise, if you will. So we're going to review that one and give you the a short version of each story.
We're going to ultimately review Jurassic World Domination, which is the third sequel in the Jurassic World series.
Yes. But we're also going to review the past two.
We'll touch on the first two. In passing to bring people up to speed of the storyline.
Yeah, so you guys know, last year we reviewed Jurassic Park, the original. So we thought we might continue on from there because we were going to wait until this one came out this last year. And I thought maybe when we do Jurassic World, the next franchise, we should at least watch all of them so we know all the ins and outs of the franchise.
Yeah. It's like watching Harry Potter. You sit down there, it's been overdone with for a couple of years. You can sit down there and watch them from start to finish in order, and it has a nice flow,
Speaking of that, Mike, I heard maybe on rumours that they might be looking at remaking that Harry Potter series franchise.
A reboot or something?
Yeah, maybe a reboot or remake. I'm hoping the latter not going to happen.
So they're going to be orators or something rather, fighting evil and stuff.
No, exactly. Maybe just remaking the franchise itself.
No, don't remake the franchise.
As I said before,
the first one was done really, really good.
I thought the original was a lot more better, and the fact that it seemed more of a natural approach to it.
The actors worked really good for that, and if you replace all the actors, everyone's going to
give a hate.
Compare them to the original actors. Like you had Richard Harris playing the original Dumbledore, and the other people playing all the actors. And I'm not going to go for everyone's name, but those people brought something to those roles.
Yeah, and I thought Maggie Smith did an awesome role of Mrs. McGonagall, and I cannot replace her with any other lady.
No, she's got a nice feel to her,
Even though after all these years, I'm amazed that she's still around. I'm impressed.
And look at Robbie Coltrane. He's passed away. He did a good Hagrid, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. And there's no person I could think of that could pull off Hagrid. Anyway, let's get down to this current movie.
Let's get down and boogie with it.
The first one, Jurassic World, came out in 2015. The second one, the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, 2018. And the final one that we just brought up is Jurassic Park. What's it called, Mike? Jurassic World Dominion, which was released last year.
Yeah, they actually started making it in 2020. It took about 2 years to make it.
Yeah, see,
coronavirus got in the way.
COVID kind of got in the way of a lot of production, sort of postponed and got people to wait.
They did soldier through it quite nicely.
Yeah, and some of them who have to travel back and forth between locations and studios
have to. Places and they did cheat with some, but they did do a lot of location shoots.
Yeah, so they had to do a lot of go to hotels, wait for 2 weeks. If they don't catch anything, then you can start work again. So that's technically the whole thing they had to face throughout their production process.
They did good time management anyway. Now, what do you want to do here? Do you want to just skip over the original story leading into this movie?
Well,
or how do you
let's talk about our two major characters in these three productions.
And then when we get up to this movie, then I'll go through the directors and producers.
Yes.
Okay, right.
So the first two actors who appear in all three movies are as following. Chris Pratt as Owen Grade.
Whatever.
And the other one is called Bryce Dallas Howard as Claire, who is a scientist, and of course, Chris's character Owen is actually he looks after the and cares for the raptors, in his care.
He's a wrangler, whatever.
One of them by the name of Blue, which appears in all three movies too, which has become, I guess, a lead character in this production too.
So Chris Pratt, his name was Owen Grady. I don't know what you got there.
Oh, sorry, Grady. I got it wrong. So anyway, I'll lead into the first story that was done in 2015, just a few years after Jurassic World went and plummeted down to the pits of hell. And so this takes place many years later, and then, so this park is in full function, meaning guests going in and out, yada yada yada, stuff like that. But then we get some really terrible stuff starting to happen inside the park, dealing with a very mutated version of a dinosaur.
They made a mutant dinosaur, a pterosaur.
Yeah. A mixture of T-Rex, raptors, and a lot of other genetic
and they made a really
animals.
nasty killing type dinosaur.
Yeah, and in the
smart
end,
one too.
Yeah, in the end, Owen had to fight the creature and try to save the remaining survivors, who are mostly visitors to the park, the stuff like that, and Claire, who is his love interest, which I think she's just not really my type as a love interest, but it doesn't matter.
Well, you're a girl. Mine.
Yeah. They eventually defeat him by sending off a couple of their raptors and a very big T-Rex to save the day. And of course, the raptors at first, they don't imply, because they kind of sensed from this new dinosaur was a mixed breed of raptor.
Yeah, you got a bit of a raptor in him, a bit of T-Rex, so they weren't sure what to do with him.
Yeah,
In
but eventually,
the end, the T-Rex and the Velociraptors got together and beat him up and killed him.
Yeah, somehow they organised a good development there, and
they worked together quite nicely.
Yeah, and no one was able to get the raptors on his side. See, he's a handler for the raptors, and they see him as their
alpha male, a leader or whatever, predator, apex predator type. Yeah, he's one of them.
Yeah. So eventually they were able to save the day and save a couple of the dinosaurs. But in Fallen Kingdom, which is the next movie coming along, the park itself has been abandoned, meaning
like the other ones.
Meaning no one will bear going to the park at all. And they realize that the volcano on that island is going to erupt any time. So they have two options: let the dinosaurs die, or evacuate them to another place, hopefully.
Nice.
And some people are skeptics. Some of them say, no, we don't want to do this because this is going against nature. Or according to Ian Malcolm, this is dinosaurs and humans were not meant to be together in this case.
Exactly.
Anyway, eventually, what's his name? Oh yeah, Hamill's business partner, wants to evacuate the dinosaurs, and his name's Lockwood.
Yeah. I can't remember.
Yeah,
I've got the notes of that movie in front of me.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, and he wants to evacuate the dinosaurs and take them to a sanctuary, stuff like that. But his business his assistant has bigger ideas for the dinosaurs, and
he wants to raffle them off, doesn't he?
Yeah, he organizes an auction, plans on selling them to the highest bidder. But luckily enough, Owen and Claire, they eventually come into the plan, and they're able to fight and get the dinosaurs away. Well, not really them. It was actually Lockwood's granddaughter who had a finger in getting the dinosaurs loose and having them end up in the outside world, causing them to run amok and probably disrupt the human world as much as possible, which leads us to this final movie, which is called Jurassic Park.
Jurassic World. Dominion.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I keep getting it mixed up because I'm used to Jurassic Park, not Jurassic World.
Now I'll do my bit.
Yes.
Okay. This new production. Here we go. Right. As we said, it's a science fiction action film like the other ones. Produced by Frank Marshall and Patrick Crowley. Directed by Colin Trevorrow. Trevorrow? Yeah.
Trevorrow.
Yeah, Trevorrow, yeah. Screenplay by Emily Carmichael and Colin Trevorrow.
And
story by Derek Connolly and Colin Trevorrow. I think Colin likes the idea. Based on Michael Crichton's book, Jurassic Park, obviously.
Yeah.
Now, I don't normally do this bit, but I'm going to do it now.
Go on.
The budget, $185 million, which is quite a lot of money.
That's a lot.
As at now it's made $1 billion at the box office.
Wow. That's a lot.
Even though the reviews weren't very strong.
Yeah.
So, are the viewers wrong or the paying public wrong?
I don't
Funny
know, mate.
that, hey. But
Funny.
I always say the reviewers aren't accurate.
Well,
because sometimes they're on the other side of the coin.
Yeah, well, technically, before a movie even starts coming out, some of these critiquers, guys, they review it and then they already release the reviews before the movie comes to the public eye.
And everything else. I don't like it because of this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. And all the people who go to see it seem to like it, and I spend their hard-earned money going to the pictures, go to the theatre to go and see this piece of crap. Well, it's not a piece of crap, is it, reviewers? It's a good movie, right?
Yeah, so, I miss the old days where I didn't see when I was years ago, I would not read a newspaper about the film reviews on a movie. Unlike nowadays where all the reviews are now online for all to see, which is not really necessarily a good thing. I'm trying my absolute hardest to avoid those reviewers, the negative ones, as much as possible so I can make a full critique of my own, watching the movie myself without having to listen to their squabbling complaints about it.
Enough.
Anyway, so this movie...
I'm going to touch on the cast.
Okay, Mike, we already know the cast.
No, you want to mention a couple of them about the other movie, okay? Will you let me... you do this to me all the time.
Shush, you.
Okay, right. Okay, Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard reprised their roles. It's Owen Grady and Claire Dearing, okay? Laura Dern, Sam Neill and Buggerlugs. Jeff Goldblum.
How can you forget him, Dad? We were talking about him.
Mental block. They've come back. The first time they've worked together in a Jurassic Park movie, I believe, since the first movie.
Yeah.
So since the first movie, number 1, up till now, it's the first time they've actually been together. Totally.
It might have been a difficult one, considering this one was a difficult production to mount.
Whatever. I won't mention too much of the other people, though. We'll go down to B.D. Wong, plays Dr. Henry Wu. He's been in just about every movie.
Oh, yeah, I should mention, guys, he's another recurring character in all 3 of these Jurassic World movies, I should mention.
That's what I just said.
I know, I just meant, he's the same guy from the first one, the first Jurassic Park movie, but we never see him again after that.
You might as well do these by yourself. You're doing my bit.
Go on.
Right.
Go on.
So, there's some other actors there I won't go into, but they're the main ones. So they did drag him out of retirement and bring him back into this movie. Now, the guy, the head bad guy, Dr. Lewis Dodson, well, his role was in the first movie. He was the guy who tried to bribe the chubby guy to get the embryos or whatever, the DNA samples, whatever. Well, he is reprised his role as a leader of this company, Biosyn, and he's the CEO and the head nasty guy. Now he's being played by a guy called Campbell Scott, who is not the original guy.
I didn't think so.
No, he replaced another guy, Cameron Thorpe, because he was unavailable due to some reasons which I won't go into at the moment.
Okay.
So yes, but he did a good role. He's quite good. He plays a very nice antagonist. So
when I heard his name Dodson, I knew right away it sounded familiar. I remember from the funny antic that the chubby guy where he says Dodson is right here and all that stuff.
He was on the guy. I can't remember his name. He's on Seinfeld and a few things.
Yeah.
Can't remember his name. Yeah.
Anyway.
But interesting. So they've got at least half the people here are recurring, which is good.
I read somewhere when they were doing Jurassic Park, Lost World, they were trying to bring back the character Dodson in that one, but they decided to change it up to by changing the story for that one, obviously, for story reasons.
Anyway, do you want to get into a story? Why don't you tell a story?
So the story continues off a few years, 4 years later, and let me see, Claire and Owen, they're kind of adopted and looking after Lockwood's granddaughter now, whose name, what's her name? Maisie.
Maisie something or other.
Yeah, and she doesn't know much about her. At first we don't know much about her, except for the fact she's a clone of his Lockwood's Lockwood's daughter.
Well, no, she is Maisie Lockwood. She has Lockwood's surname.
Yeah. So she's a little bit she's overprotected by dear old Owen and Claire, because they see her that she's a she
the
has
company wants her.
Yeah, the company
She's in danger.
Yeah, she's a big danger to anyone who may be scientist related.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but we don't know why at the beginning, do we?
No, we don't.
But she looks a lot like her mother.
Yeah, a lot.
And we think, she's a clone, but she's not.
We think we think she's a clone now. Do 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 do.
Oh, a bit of thunder in the background.
Anyway, maybe it's a dinosaur.
It could be walking past the front door. There you go.
Yeah, that's something. So, anyway, back to our story. So the world is now popular with dinosaurs, making it difficult for a human race to survive, technically. It seems that also, along the lines, there are a lot of unlikable people who are trying to sell and profit off dinosaurs in this world now, where they do the illegal stuff where you sell dinosaurs underneath the table, sort of thing.
Must be a big table.
No, I agree, Mike. And some of them are breeding them like they were, for profit too. And of course, Claire stops the profit where they were breeding T-Rex. I mean, not T-Rexes, Tyrannosaurus Rexes.
Yeah.
Triceratops. So sorry.
Those guys.
Yeah. But luckily enough, she stopped them and reported them to an RSVPA type group.
An animal rights protection sort of thing. Yeah. RSPCA. That's Australia.
Yes. Anyway, Dodson in this group, he's got a sanctuary for dinosaurs in a nice secluded area that's very tightly secured. No one outside is allowed in. No tourists, no unwanted visitors, yada yada, stuff like that.
They're very nice.
Of course,
the dinosaurs.
Of course, in the real world, apart from dinosaurs, they're also suffering from a locust problem. Technically, very big locusts, the size of my. Well, I can't really describe it to you guys on camera.
As long as your arm.
Yeah, just pretty much that.
Big ones.
And dear old Elsa what's her name? Her character in
Ellie.
Ellie comes on board. She's studying ancient plants and insects because of her, and she's now divorced or widow. I'm not sure which, but she's
been divorced, I think. She's had a couple of unsuccessful marriages.
Yeah. Anyway, so she looks into this sort of thing and finds out these locusts are really bizarrely big, not the normal size locusts as we're all accustomed to these days.
But sort of a model plane, yeah.
Meanwhile, she approaches she approaches what's his name? Oh yeah, she approaches what's Sam Neill's character's called again?
Fred.
Funny.
What?
Funny, huh? Alan. She approaches him, and he's working the digs as usual, but then mostly it's tour groups coming in and out, and they're not too impressed.
He can't get funding.
Yeah, because dinosaurs are technically become a living thing. So what's the point in taking interest in digging?
Yeah. So yeah, it's a.
Yeah. So while
go.
Yeah. Yeah, and they. Oh, well. So. Ellie and him, they suspect a sort of group that's sort of Duxon's group, supposedly.
What?
And, Duxon.
Whatever.
The group who specially design crops that have a certain thing attached to them to avoid getting infected by these locusts.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But these locusts, which we find have been developed by Dodson, have actually been programmed to eat all the other crops.
Yeah.
But leave Dodson's one alone, so they can capitalise on the world market.
Making their crops a little bit 10 times
the only ones.
Yes.
But they didn't realise it's going to end up being a food shortage too. Because they'll eat everything.
Yes. So anyway, back to Owen and Claire. They're looking after Lockwood's granddaughter, and she's having a hard time of it because she doesn't like being caged.
She's about 12 or 13 years old, and she's wanting to get in the stage where I want a bit of freedom here. Yeah.
Yeah, and one day Blue comes into the picture with her offspring, no less.
Isn't that cute?
It's adorable.
Little baby
and,
one.
Yeah, and technically very adorable. And then one day, both Maisie and Blue's baby get kidnapped by some guys.
These guys are working for the biosync guys because they want to get the girl because they think she's possibly a clone or something, but they wanted the little velociraptor because it was self-generating from its mummy. So it didn't have a male to fertilise it. So they said, they want to find out DNA and genealogical stuff as well and find out what's going on inside it.
Yes. So it's up to Claire and Owen to find her. Of course, it takes them across different takes them across the world to to an auction in I guess the Middle East. I don't know
Malta.
where. Yeah, and
Malta is not the Middle East.
Yeah,
it's in the area. But
there, a lady is selling some raptors. They're programmed to whatever the button red laser is on someone. That laser will get the raptors to chase after them.
Yeah, they're programmed to attack who you tell it to attack by using a laser pointer.
Yeah.
But the part that bugs me is you flash a laser pointer on somebody. As far as I'm aware, that doesn't leave any signal on you, so you can't go running away and have it follow the signal. Don't know how it works. So interesting.
She was also the one who orchestrated the transporting Maze and the raptor to said the next location after this. And Owen gets wind of this from a colleague who tells him about everything they need to know, unfortunately, and he also gets more information from the guy who did the selling of the girl. Anyway, so they make a point of traveling to the next spot using a lady who's American who's was also involved in the selling and the plane ride to take Maisie to that said location. So she ends up lending them her plane to take them to the next spot where they're going to do the drop-off point. So, meanwhile, Alan and Ellie, they're already at the place. They're pretending to just tour the spot to find out as much as they can about the dinosaurs. That's sort of the sanctuary that I mentioned earlier. So they also meet up with Ian, who gives them an invitation to this establishment. So he's to thank in this part of this procedure, and he gets into Ellie's ear, telling her that about the secret lab somewhere on the grounds that dabbles with the king-size locusts.
Yeah.
So he gives her a key, and both Alan and Ellie, head to the secret lab. Meanwhile, Mace is down in the secret labs, and there she learns a little bit more about where she comes from. As it turns out, her mother was, she loved dinosaurs and was also a scientist in her own right. And then we find out that Mace was pregnant, was a baby inside her mother's tummy, which we kind of think maybe she may have develops the similar genes, or maybe her mother used her own DNA to create her, or something like that.
All we know is at this point in time, at the beginning of the movie, she was pregnant.
Yes.
And then she gave birth to Maisie, but we didn't know the full story. But in the end of it, we find out that self-generating.
Yes.
But her mother, Maisie's mother, was ill, and she started to treat herself with some of the DNA and genetic thingies they found out during the study of the dinosaurs, which to make her stronger, but obviously it didn't save her totally, but it passed on some of the good qualities to the daughter.
Exactly.
I think it covers it.
That pretty much covers it. So anyway, luckily enough, Maze and the said little dinosaur, they get away and they meet up with Alan and Ellie when they were trying to get a sample of the big giant locust. Unfortunately, when they were getting the sample, thanks to a bit of noise, that it caused the locusts to act, aggressive and start attacking them.
No, it didn't happen that way. They went into the thingy, and when they grabbed one of them, it sent a signal to the other guys, and it had a herd mentality that a lot of bugs do, and they started to all get agitated and start attacking them.
Exactly so.
That's what happened. I was there, I saw it.
Yeah, so they get out of there, and of course after a few, they eventually meet up with Maze, and they head towards the exit if they can. Along the way, they meet Dockson's assistant, I think, who tells them that he knew all about this thingy that Dockson's been up to, and he suggests that they quickly flee the establishment as quickly as possible. Hopefully get to the helicopter and get away, hopefully. Anyway, soon enough, Dawson gets wind of this and realizes that his plan is falling apart, so he has only one option to sort of remove all evidence of the locusts. So
in the study, so he goes in there and tries to get the computer records and everything else.
Yeah, and he destroys the locusts by burning them alive. But unfortunately, that goes so well.
But they get out through an air conditioning duct, and they fly out through the roof while they're still alive, burning a bit.
Yeah.
And they set fire to the island. Oh, what a brilliant man he is.
Yeah, meanwhile, Owen and, Claire and their pilot, they eventually get to the establishment, and somehow their plane gets damaged, and therefore they end up crashing, and then they have to trail the way through the growth, encountering dinosaurs and mutated type of dinosaurs that look like part lizard, part bird, which would remind me in Jurassic Park about how Alan would say that that raptors and other dinosaurs were sort of they kind of resemble birds a little bit.
See, some of their bone structures would indicate they've got in their genetics some bird-like qualities in there.
Exactly so.
And you have to understand that we're only guessing a lot of it still, but they have figured out in some of the studies and investigations that some dinosaurs actually had feathers. They were, even though they're lizard-like, they were a bit bird-like as well.
True. So anyway, we then encounter some. So they eventually meet up with the rest of our cast, who they knew each other, or not. They didn't know each other, but I think they knew each other from either records and stuff like that. So they do have a good idea of each other's histories a little bit. Of course, eventually, when they were trying to get away, well, actually, they don't get away, actually. They go to the computer lab and they try to figure out what to do next regarding the park itself, because by the time they get up there, the staff and security and whoever else have left the computer room, and it's all the dinosaurs are actually roaming the establishment at this point in time.
Yeah, they got to run the place.
Yeah. Somehow, just so you guys know, the dinosaurs
when the fire started, they had some sort of thing inside the program to go to a central point.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah, the dinosaurs have a special chip in their brains that allows them to be controlled slightly to a certain degree. So to herd them to a certain spot in the park.
Yeah, to get them away from the fire.
Yeah, so Ellie and Claire, they head to downstairs to try to do something about this. So they do go down there, but they get attacked by some locusts. But luckily enough, thanks to a bit of smartness, they were able to shut that part off of the computer to get them to stop.
Yeah, and had to reboot the computers too. That goes back to the first movie, doesn't it?
Yeah, Owen and Alan and Misty, they try to find Blue's offspring, who has escaped through the establishment. So they had to go find him.
Beta,
Misty named him or her, whatever. Yeah. Anyway, they do find it, and
Beta is the second letter of the Greek alphabet.
Ooh, clever. So anyway, she's able to hold her hand out just like Owen did when he was training the raptors, and I guess that due to their bonding, was able to subdue and capture Blue's little offspring. Anyway, they soon head up there and back upstairs, and eventually Ian says, "That's a raptor," and he says, "Yeah, it's a baby dinosaur out there."
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Meanwhile, Dachshund, he heads through his pod thing, and due to when the electricity gets cut off for a minute,
the pod is like a little thing, a little carriage on a track, a little like
he encounters some dinosaurs that were very similar to the dinosaurs that killed
the first guy in
Jurassic Park,
who was stealing the embryos or the DNA samples. Yeah.
So, and we do get an Easter egg of the sort of the shaving cream type can that looks very crushed and very dirty, which indicates he did get some of those embryos.
And I'm wondering how the hell he found it, because it got washed away and covered in mud and sludge.
Yeah,
how the hell did you found it?
I don't know, Mike. It's a bit
that's
bizarre.
That's a little bit stretched the imagination.
It is a stretch, Mike, as you said. Anyway, so which indicates to me he is the his character is the original guy who was trying to get what's-his-face to smuggle embryos through the shaving cream sort of thing in the first movie, obviously. Anyway, back to the story. So he gets killed by the same dinosaurs that killed that said man. Anyway, moving on. So the characters, they have to get out and try to get away from the establishment. The girl heads to the plane, which they have waiting plane that's above. I'm amazed that the plane was still there, considering they were doing evacuation earlier, and wouldn't the planes be gone? I'm just guessing, guys. At this point, everyone was evacuating. I don't think they were just left a measly plane up there just because it's... Well, never mind. I won't go into details about that. That's a stretch of beyond my imagination. So, anyway, meanwhile, a mixture of powerful king T-Rexes start attacking one another, and they're like, who's going to be the king of this establishment?
But the main T-Rex, who I think is our hero T-Rex.
Yeah, he uses another dinosaur, and he was able to pierce its belly with
the one looking like the bird had these sort of pointy claws.
Very sharp.
And he pushed the other mean dinosaur towards the other dinosaur with the claws, and it impaled him on it.
Yeah.
What a smart little dinosaur he is.
Yeah. Quickly, our rest of our characters get onto the helicopter, and they make their escape. Of course, they also escape with Henry Wu, who explains that they need to...
Here it is. Yeah, here it is. Okay, right. There's a big battle between a Gigantosaurus and the T-Rex.
Yes.
Aided by... I can't pronounce his name. He's the birdie one.
Okay. So, anyway, they eventually escape, and of course, Maisie makes the decision to help Mr. Wu by using her blood sample to help things with the locusts.
Yeah,
so,
and he did.
Yeah, and which was eventually, I guess, they either died or they eventually stopped attacking
what he did, he genetically engineered other locusts which would have some sort of DNA thing in them to actually break the DNA cycle of the old ones so they can actually not be a problem.
Yeah. Ellie and Alan, they both decide to become a couple and make their plans of going to Washington to tell their story a little bit here and there.
No, here it is. Wu releases a host of locusts carrying a pathogen, gradually eradicating the swarms. There you go.
Eradicating, whatever.
Killing them off, yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Anyway, Owen, Claire, and Maisie, they return back to the woods with the little baby raptor, and luckily enough, Blue's there, and eventually both her baby and her head off into the woods. And when Blue kind of looks back at her old friend, and
I guess thank you, I suppose.
I guess she's grateful in a dinosaur kind of way. Anyway, we then leave it to... Then we fade to black, the end.
Yay. Yeah.
And I like the fact this kind of ended with no twists or angles. They just said... It just shows that the human race continues to try to work with the new species of dinosaur. The little area that I mentioned, the Sanctuary of Dinosaur area, it continues to function as a sanctuary. So
they're kept in a central location, so they can't do too much damage.
Yeah, so whatever is left of the sanctuary is still there, I imagine, and I imagine more and more dinosaurs are placed there to be looked after and cared for.
Yeah, lovely.
All right, the end.
Wow.
So that's Jurassic World, the entire franchise. Mike here said something about maybe they might be making another movie. I'm not sure.
They're sitting back. I think they're I think that at this point in time they're waiting to see how this one goes, how well received or not well received it is.
Yeah.
And then if they can find a good idea to run with, they might consider doing another movie, but it might end up being a new set of movies. You had Jurassic Park, 3 movies, then you had Jurassic World, 3 movies. Yeah. They might do something else with a totally different storyline.
Yeah, it amazes me, guys, that when they did Jurassic Park, it kind of took a few years before when they start planning the second and third movie. I mean, I often wondered. Nothing will top the first Jurassic Park movie. But then when Jurassic Park Lost World came out, I was sort of it kind of gave me a different impression on it. But it was a good impression because it was kind of cool to see dinosaurs running amok while a new set of enemies tried to either try to abduct them or try to take them and try to do whatever to them.
When I saw the very, very, very first one, now that there blew me away because I had never seen dinosaur CGI animatronics put together so well before. I mean, with the old Godzilla movies we saw when I was growing up were all still frame or stop frame, whatever it's called, and they weren't bad. And then the other ones were made by the Toho Studios Japan that had a man in a rubber suit and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But this here, to me, brought dinosaurs to life because they looked so real. And I wouldn't say scared me, but I love the reality. And going, wow, this is great.
I agree with Mike here, considering, aside from the King Kong movies and the Godzilla movie,
the old ones,
the old ones, I was kind of happy that... Well, actually, Jurassic Park, for me, started when I was a little kid, and I didn't knew of any other dinosaur-related movies till I actually went back and rewatched a few old ones and knew that Jurassic Park topped them in its way.
When computer, I won't say CGI, but when computers started to come into it a bit more, into processing. Post-editing, they were already doing blue screen and everything else and other good, other styles of filming. But with the advent of CGI and better computer gear, faster chips, bigger memories and stuff, they've been able to do some magnificent things. And it does, if you got the budget, can make anything come to reality. In the digital world, and it looks so damn good.
I was really impressed with the fact that back then, when they did the first Jurassic Park movie, that it was interesting that they used other animal-related sounds to mimic the whole roaring and growling and stuff like that. When you think about it, an actual lizard. If you actually see the real big lizards in certain countries, you don't hear them growl or say anything.
A lot of them hiss.
Most of them, they hiss, they make weird noises like that, but they don't really make anything louder than that. Yeah. I mean, it's a bit of a relief to see this sort of thing come to life, even though I don't know whether or not what the real dinosaurs would have made.
Well,
what kind of sounds they would have made.
They would have made a deeper sound because they're a bigger animal. Yeah, the vibrations and the throat are different. But you look at say a small lizard, like I know in other countries, but a blue-tongued lizard in Australia, which is a small lizard, about 1 or 2 feet long, hisses, goes. at you, a bit like a goose does. Yeah.
Also, guys, I want to bring this to your attention. I've been hearing a lot of fan rumors, where it kept saying that John Hamilton's grandkids were clones too. Point of fact, guys, so you're out there, they're not. They're actually, came from their parents, obviously, and it did say
and they couldn't be clones.
Yeah.
No, because if you look at it, they came to visit Grandpa at the place at the beginning of Jurassic Park, and they were already something like 11 and 14 or something or other. He didn't have the technology of the clone.
Yeah, I'm just saying, guys, that at the time it did say that John Hamilton was, during a meeting with his lawyer or whatever, one of the men told him that John Hammond couldn't come because he was actually attending to his daughter's divorce settlements, sort of thing. Yeah. Meaning he had to be there for her, which means that both the kids we saw at the beginning are actually really his grandkids, and therefore they did have a mum and they did have a dad who was about to divorce or split up.
And he's a very caring grandpa.
Yeah, so I just want to bring that to your attention, guys, because I've been hearing a lot of rumours, and it's not really right.
Speaking about those two roles, they were actually looking at bringing those into this movie, but they decided not to at the end because the story already got too complicated, having too many people running around.
Yeah, I see what they mean. Considering this movie this third movie had too many plots so far in it.
They had the three main people out of the first movie, Jurassic Park, and the main people out of Jurassic World.
Yeah, we've already had two plots in this, where one was dealing with the plots about the locusts, the other one with Alan and Ellie and Ian, obviously, and the other one was with Owen and Claire looking after Maisie, and how she gets abducted by said same people. Obviously,
but I'm saying, but you can't have too many people. You have too many backstories to develop, and it's already got. Yeah. Some people were already complaining about this is supposed to be about the dinosaurs, and we're doing the locusts as a side story, but the locusts seem to be taking over a bit.
Yeah, it kind of would lose your characters in the shuffle if you had too many other characters thrown in.
I really think it's a good movie. I won't go into too much reviews because they're all over the shop and they're ridiculous.
Yeah, because when I saw this movie, we saw it yesterday, obviously, and I kept thinking, okay, we're on Claire and Owen at the moment. What's happening with Alan and Ellie at the moment? So I kept on wondering, okay, well, when are we going to get back to those people? Because I want to know what happened then to that set of people. It was very confusing.
Well, yeah, but you just ran two stories side by side, really.
Yeah, it was very difficult to follow.
That does happen. It wasn't hard to follow, but the point remains is...
Oh, yeah, and we often followed the bad guys around so much, too, to know what's going on.
So, bouncing around in three groups. Usually, the bad guys, the two good guys.
Usually when it comes to groups, we would often follow around, say, two groups. You know, sometimes the protagonists, and then we often follow around the baddie guys for a bit. And sometimes when we get a curveball, like we get a spy in the group, then we start following him around in the third or second act. It usually happens sometimes. It doesn't always happen.
But anyway,
or that person gets killed off in said second act.
I think the movie works, but I don't think it's what everyone would have expected. How's that?
I get it.
I think people say, "Oh, we want bigger and better and bigger," but you can't keep going bigger and better and bigger and better, working on the same thing. Sometimes you've got to change the theme and change the storyline and take a punt. Yeah. And I think this one is somewhere. I'd say it's a sci-fi action, but it's it's enough action in it for me.
Yeah, I have enough action to get me through a lifetime.
The computer generate the DNA job with the dinosaurs.
The motorcycle scene was pretty much an awesome take on action.
Look at James Bondy type thing thrown in there, you know.
And the bit where he jumps through to the into the plane was very James Bondish.
Or Harrison Fordish.
Whatever.
Raiders.
Potato, whatever.
Yeah. But Indiana Jones type. So it had a good feeling, especially when and they did a lot of location shoots. They actually went to Malta.
Really?
To do A lot of the outside shots in Malta were in Malta, and that some stuff they couldn't do there because travel restrictions and stuff. They did some of the inside sets back at the studios at Pinewood.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because they couldn't actually be there, but they wanted to bring the old world together with the dinosaurs, not contemporary world.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that. I know that people kept saying more action with the dinosaurs, but bear in mind, in this third movie, the dinosaurs were interacting with the humans, sort of the human world. I mean, to an extent, like not. I mean, some of them were killing people, others were just. They were naturally being sold off,
but the guy actually developed it. This Trevor now guy. I think the idea was. We wanted to have us sort of living side by side with the odd problem, not dinosaurs running rampant eating everybody. He didn't want to do it that way because that'd be a really boring movie.
Because that reminds me too much of Planet of the Apes, the new one. I mean, where when they had their own COVID or their own virus, the humans were becoming extinct while apes ran amok and stuff like that, and they started
developed and started talking to each other,
and they started becoming. The human race became extinct, if you will, to an extent.
Reduced significantly, that's it.
Yep.
Anyway, we can't go too much on this.
So
anyway, if we start talking too much, we'll talk forever.
Anyway, I thought this movie was well crafted. Well, all three were well crafted, I should say. I thought the first one was pretty cool. It gave me an idea in my head. What would have happened if Jurassic Park, or in this case Jurassic World, went off with, proceeded with bringing visitors to the park, and therefore get you wondering, okay, we got the people in the park, what's going to happen next? Yeah. Then we find out a dinosaur is going to run amok and start killing people, and opening up and getting more and more dinosaurs starting to attack other people too as the process. And then the whole chaos theory starts going downhill from there when you think about it.
So, but like I said, the ending of this movie, even though it's an ending, has left it open for a sequel because they didn't get rid of the dinosaurs. No. They're in a big compound somewhere in a valley where Biostephen used to operate from.
Yeah, so, just about the big alligator, swimming alligator type dinosaur that's roaming the oceans and seas. It's still out there, and it could.
They may need to do something for him. He can disturb the fishing industry a bit.
Yeah, well,
he eats fishing boats.
Yeah, he actually he did attack a very big fishing boat.
Yeah, trawler, and he gobbled it up. Ate the fish and sunk the boat. So they have to do something with him, I think. Yeah, put him out of his misery. Yeah.
At least do a whole Moby Dick type thing. Even though that's impossible because you can't bring that thing in.
We need an Ahab. We won't
Good
go into that,
Mike.
No.
Good one there.
Yeah.
Anyway, I do think I think that how the movie goes in this one, it kind of flows really well, and I like how Claire, her character, starts off as a very advanced scientist in the first movie, and then she becomes an animal activist in the second movie, and she continues down that path where she tries to help, release and save the dinosaurs as she goes. While Owen, on the other hand, he continues to be the laid-back type, okay kind of guy. Although in the third movie, he does try to stop some smugglers try to get one of the dinosaurs to, sell off. Even though at one point he couldn't. One of the dinosaurs was taken away eventually, obviously. Anyway, he was like a park ranger in the third movie a little bit, where he was trying to save the dinosaurs from getting harmed. And I like the fact he's very good with taming down the dinosaurs, trying to keep them calm in a nice, peaceful state.
Peace. Feel the calm.
Yeah.
No,
I would have loved it if that big dinosaur with the special horn attacked those men after it got seized by them. It would have been so funny. Considering Owen seems to have a bit more a bit of a knack of control over the said dinosaurs.
Anyway,
so let's rate these movies.
Well, I will say one thing, just getting back to the costing of the box office thing.
Okay, go on.
You can't always go by reviews.
No.
You know, go by your own taste, because reviewers don't actually necessarily reflect the view of the viewing population, because we had 10 people review this that didn't like it. Now, having said that, I did read somewhere that the theatrical release was shortened a little bit. The domestic release had those scenes put back in, and it shows up as a better story on a DVD than did in the cinema.
I see.
So maybe they had to edit it down, because it was at 2 hours and something long, 2 hours and so many minutes. They thought it was a little bit long, so they took some scenes out, which might have made it a bit clunky.
Yeah.
But when they put them back in, it probably worked a bit better. So if you're going to buy a DVD, speaking about that, I couldn't find it on eBay.
Oh.
But I did find it on Amazon, but I couldn't find it for rent. So maybe it's still starting up and gearing itself up, but you can buy copies off Amazon at this point in time. So if they've got it, other platforms may have it available. There you go. Now, let's vote. I am going to...
I want to ask you, what's the reception on...
I just told you.
Okay.
It was a lot of crap.
Okay, so...
If you're listening to what I said instead of yourself all the time, you'd actually listen to me. I said, I'm not going to go through them because a lot of them are just idiots. I said, it wasn't good enough and blah, blah. I thought it was a bit lame. Well, the people going to see it are paying the money and they're enjoying it. So I just said the reviewers don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, another thing, guys, I mentioned when the first Jurassic Park movies came out, the first ones back in the old days, they probably said the same thing back then too.
Well, they might say it was really, 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 really good, and then they judged every other movie after that based on the first movie. And it's not always going to be the same. Like remember Star Wars? Remember his first one, A New Hope? That was Star Wars 4, right? I liked that. That was a really fine movie. I didn't like the movie after that as much. But the last movie with number 6,
Return of Jedi,
I thought that was really, really, really good. And then I did 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3 later on, and then you watch them in order. It all comes together quite nicely.
Yeah.
But I never did like number 5 that much.
Yeah, a lot of people often said the same thing so often about this sort of thing, but it doesn't bother me so much because I thought Empire Strikes Back, it just adds to the interesting side to it. And it adds the twists that I've often mentioned this in past podcasts, that is a mother of twists in movies.
But you look at something like that and Jurassic Park, even though there's, episode-wise, or feel, Star Wars is more episode-y. This isn't episode-y, but they do link in together.
Yeah, that's
so
why
you can watch them as standalone movies.
That's one of the things
without actually linking them together.
That's what I like about the Jurassic World, guys, because that one is a continuation with the same characters, and they do change a little bit here and there. Like Owen and Claire's relationship was on again, off again, on again. But other than that, the last 2 movies, they were still on, I guess.
Yeah, but this is episodic a little bit, but you can. I feel you can watch some of these Jurassic Park movies without seeing the other ones. But if you like this sort of thing, I would actually, at this point, go back and watch the first, second, third, and then watch season 1, first, second, and third as well. So
Also, I think that the title, Jurassic World, it kind of really does bring it all together, because by the end, in the third movie, they were in the world.
Exactly. Ooh.
Unlike in the original, where it was the Jurassic Park and they were confined to that island, now that by the end of this movie, they're completely out there, like all other animals, like elephants, lions. We do see
we see some shots there towards the end where they're actually integrating with the other animals. We had some. Was it Triceratops or the next
Triceratops walking
next to elephants and stuff? Yeah, things like say they learn to live together in harmony.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is possibly what would possibly happen if it really, really happened, but it's obviously not going to happen. Well, I hope not anyway. No. I don't want to get eaten by a T-Rex.
Triceratops are vegetarians as far as I'm concerned. I'm not a scientist.
Like a big fat cow.
And I imagine they would not harm an elephant unless they were in dangerous territory.
They want to take a crossbreed. That'd be interesting.
Gee, wouldn't that be weird? Anyway, now let's rate this thing. Should we rate these each movie, or should we just rate all of them?
No, we're only really reviewing this movie.
Okay.
So as this movie stands, I would have to give it 9.5. It does. The CGI is great as usual. The storyline
1
is not bad. The theme behind it works. The acting, no matter what the reviewers said, they are there. But you got to understand, the first movie was done when they were a lot younger, and they're older and a bit more mature now. I'm not going to act the same. I don't act the same way I did 30 odd years ago either. So you've got to look for the character development.
Yeah, I like to mention that when Jurassic Park, the first one, came out, I think there was a mixture of bad and good reviews on that one.
Possibly. But anyway.
But it's proven to be, aside from box office wise, it has proven to be the most well sold of them out there.
And I think this is one of the third highest grossing movies for last year.
Yes.
That must tell you something, folks.
Gee.
Don't listen to the reviewers. Now,
anyway,
I got 9.5. What do you give it?
I'm going to rate all 3 of the movies. So the first one that was done in 2015, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. And Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, I give 8 out of 10. And the final one that Mike mentioned, Jurassic Park, Jurassic World number 3, which was done in 2022, I'm going to give 9 out of 10 too.
Well, there you go then.
So that's 1 10 1 and 2 9 1s. So you can see I do like these ones.
Dinosaurs.
But I still prefer rewatching the original a lot more when I think about
this.
Actually,
what I'd like to do, I'd like to go back and revisit the Godzilla movies they made in the past couple of years. Yeah, and they're not the old ones, but the ones that actually use CGI, because that one of what's his name is. Actually, John Reno was in the first one, and and different things. The CGI in that was quite good too.
I agree. Anyway, I did like the first Jurassic World when it came out. I thought it was kind of like an alternate universe where Jurassic Park, even though Jurassic Park in that one did exist, because we do see remnants of the old park in that movie.
That's right,
where we saw the old vehicles, like the old trucks they had, and the remains of the old buildings,
and the jungle taking
sort of
it
like
back again.
Like looking at a damaged, like an ancient ruin, if you will, like
a modern ancient ruin.
Yeah, only a little bit more modern day.
Anyway,
so I do like the fact they brought that to my attention, and I like in this one it did bring some Easter eggs to attention again, taking us back to the first Jurassic Park movie. I mean, in the past, so it's nice to bring back those movies to this sort of thing, and I'm kind of glad that in this one, in Jurassic World, it kind of makes you wonder, what if the park went off with a hitch, and therefore what kind of dangers and disasters would happen, and would we be prepared for them, which I doubt. Anyway, so I'll kill it now, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this movie review with us. So be sure to check it out, and check out the rental ones, and maybe check out JB Hi-Fi, if you will. There might be a few on sale.
JB Hi-Fi is here in Australia.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Any stores that are local to you that might have it.
Any stores which sells DVDs should probably have it in their stock. If you want to download it from Amazon, or buy it from Amazon, it's there. eBay I couldn't find. So yeah, it's still around. It's around, but it might still be hitting the market.
So it's still out there for all to see. So feel free to check it out. And if not, you can always go on YouTube and actually rent or hire a copy. There too.
So yeah, that's right. Yeah, YouTube.
You can actually
I don't normally go on YouTube, but yeah, there's some place there you can pay a subscription fee. And yeah.
So
I keep forgetting that.
Yeah, so let us know in the comments which one is your favorite Jurassic World movie. If not Jurassic World isn't your favorite, you can always bring up to our attention which one is your favorite Jurassic Park related movie too. If you don't like these ones, obviously, I'm not telling you guys you have to like them.
You're waffling.
Okay, so that's it for us tonight, guys. Thanks for listening to our latest podcast. I hope you enjoyed the thunder. It sounds a little bit like a T-Rex.
They might not have been picked up on the microphones all that clearly anyway. We heard it more than they did.
Boom, boom. It sounded a little bit like the weird booming sounds you heard in the T-Rexes.
Going back to that first movie where the Jurassic Park, they had that... they were in a little car near the T-Rex pen, and the water in the cup just vibrated. That was actually done with a bass guitar string strung out underneath the dashboard, and they plucked the string and made the vibration. Interesting, isn't it?
We ought to try that one, later on.
I'm not going to use one of my bass guitar strings just to try an experiment for you. Thank you.
Hey, it would be kind of cool.
What we could do, we could get a piece of wire or something or other and do the same thing.
We could give it a try.
Yeah.
So that's it for us tonight, guys. So be sure to check out our next episode whenever we organise it. So
I want to do an old movie one day.
I'll let you know in the future.
An old movie where some of these young people may not have seen them.
Well, I'll get back to you on that one. So thanks for everyone for listening to our latest podcast, everyone. Be good people, and I hope you guys check our next review when it comes out. So this is Sarah Stephenson.
And me, Michael.
Saying, see you guys around on Boys and Ghouls Film Review. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.